Every time people step foot in an unfamiliar place, they stumble upon enigmas that refuse to be explained. In the haunting resonance from derelict structures to the exterior regarding the fabled skinwalkers and nightmare monsters, cling to discover the artifacts found in the wilderness that startled everyone. The avatar in the flesh. All they did was, while on a nefarious heist in the Anasa Cave tomb, the movie that produced during the heist depicts a monstrous such a striking resemblance to the NTI from how lovely is that bluish-gray shade. Avatar. Thing was clearly not human, because looked like an alien creature. Chills them to the core. Was being lifted by the thing resembling an avatar from its grasp. It was really living. And I have no clue what the tomb loot contained, but among all the discoveries made, this one was very valuable. The walker with the skin. Placed online by an individual some years ago, unknown viewer. This is disturbing video on the verge of giving you the Willie's unknown area, as the individual he encountered an enigmatic being, sprawled out on a hillside as if it were some kind of creature. However, first it was only a silhouette, but when the man looked closer and discovered that it was something remarkable, which validated assumptions about its beginnings out of sight, as if it were embarrassed to be seen the way you stand now, drastically altered, vanishing into the mountain range. That was one creepy-looking animal that looks great on Skinwalker. What does it mean to you? Believe that terrifying being had been giant Sasquatch, little one. If you have ever mocked someone who had faith in Sasquatch, now is the moment to act. The group's usage of your words during a journey through the woods, they became aware of a number of terrifying sounds that sound like strenuous, as if they were. As the moment drew near, one of the men prepared with the hopes that there would be object of value. He failed to capture being aware that it would cause them to gasp for air. Swiftly, a gigantic, snarling beast descended as he walked alongside the massive rock face. Quick actions. But that wasn't all. Then came another one that appeared too identical to its predecessor, with the exception that it possessed each one holding a newborn slipped away behind a different rock. I'll allow you process the events of the past few moments. It appears as though one or more Sasquatch families living there. Well, what's the backstory? Moose against Sasquatch. Wow. That man was while venturing into the woods. He experienced a terrifying animal noise. Battles in the woods are exceptional. Yet he persisted that unusual shrieking noise, anticipating in order to locate an object of interest, and the sight that followed halted him in his tracks, as it has the potential to make anyone gasp for far away, a massive Sasquatch was pulling, being a semi-conscious moose. I am oblivious to would like to consider the malevolent purposes it may be pursuing. The number of times an untamed creature and a fantastical beasts wrestle it out, just as if it were intriguing. It was plain scary. Goat guy. These guys were lounging on the hill to seek out the enigmatic night. Frightening tales that circulate on task to determine whether night falls on the hills could be terrifying, or those are just only anecdotes. They uncovered something, solidified their assumptions while capturing the environment, and failing to do anything, especially what their camera managed to record an obscure object like a guy who looks like a goat and has those it appeared to have. Extremely noticeable horns straight at the assembly with its shimmering glances, but then, for an instant, the camera shifted, and upon its return to where it had been before, there was no sign of Goatman on those Turkish mountain ranges. Mystery beast unearthed in 2016, we visited the Ukrainian woods. While this individual was investigating the region, and a haunting noise piqued his interest, he had no one to talk to, and that the voice sounded absolutely robotic. The adventurer was hell-bent on discovering who was speaking, and what they were looking for. He uncovered a forest well. Several large logs buried the well, and managed to blend in with the foliage surrounding it. He had the impression that somebody's voice was emanating from this well, and as he drew nearer to take a peek, something was staring to the sky with its wacky look and horrific eyes. As soon as he locked eyes with it, his mind was racing as he dashed away. Both times. Bats that prey on vampires. This man set out to explore the colony under the cover of darkness. He came upon the look of the cottage made of wood seemed like it had been left for dead for a long time. His fear of the place kept him out for quite some time. However, his insatiable curiosity led him to enter and discovered what was within house. Disregarded his assessment of the house was a veritable zoo of animal waste, but out of all the rooms, one stood out because of unsettling chittering emanated from that source. The entire room's walls were occupied, along with a crimson fluid, and the perps did not include the countless vampire bats that from the top of the building. What the scenario much more terrifying was that the fluid itself was the culprit. Bats that feed on blood and expel waste are those creatures who don't eat anything else than transfusions involving mysterious being in a waterfall. Aesthetics are the main purpose of waterfalls. Quite harmless, however, this fake waterfall in Iceland is sure to sway your opinion. We're taking in the scenery. Right up until they found something, forgo the breathtaking landscape for a moment and fixate on the precipice that stood dangling from the ceiling. Is this sinister being cliff? It appeared as though it was attempting to ascent occurred when the film received focus that individuals on the internet possessed new viewpoints. However, some claimed it can merely be an individual donning a shaved head, which led some to believe to survive as an enigmatic being. Everything is still a mystery as of the year 2020. No idea what kind of being this was. Tree the fairy. He had his children filmed, enjoying one's time at the park. Typical. Nonetheless, something piqued their interest. They marched onto the tree that the children are identifying as a bug, but as the man got closer, oh my goodness, he was just floored, was astounded by the intensity of his gaze, discovered what appeared to be an insect. Stunning. Unlike any insect, it bore the wings of a dragonfly, yet possessed a body anything that seemed. Ed Human, a delicate little once fairy turned human with wings creature, is now the decision as to whether it was indeed a wondrous or merely a heightened perp. Enigmatic dwelling subterranean. Allow your ideas wander and eventually come up with, can you tell me the most bizarre and out there thing? I wager you can discover it within a cave. Cannot make it there, but please allow me accompany you on this expedition. In the midst of a mountain adventure, discovered a rather insane idea that they were their drone astonished them with a dwelling where you're most untamed and unsavory. Hopes and dreams wouldn't even make it to the dwelling situated within a cavern, and the house was deserted and surrounded by large trees, so small that it was barely visible just by looking around. The house exuded and surrounding it that yelled out danger. Simply glance looking at that. Doesn't it dry out your tingling sensation? Eerie underground cavern. Excitement, as well as not all adventures unfold in this way. Example involves a group of companions who went to investigate the renown abandoned inside the cave, but on there a small escapade that a companion acquired went down. But he never got back up. They began after hours of waiting, summoning him by name and circling back to seek him out by means of their flashlight, and suddenly an individual appeared next from them, and it wasn't even their acquaintance. The video captured the individual in what looks like a medical scrub for only a moment because the men were too scared and reportedly fled for their life. The patient in question had previously resided in an asylum who were no longer with him, but whom he still journeys around corridors. Decommissioned structure situated between cliff face. Picture this. You're on vacation and, while there, located in the heart of breathtaking mountain range, anything completely new to you past the point when it might ruin your holiday, both terrifying and thrilling. Allow me to present this structure situated amidst land. The structure in question was taken in China. Based on the drone's current state, seems to have been left forlorn for years, despite the beautiful natural beauty that enveloped it. The structure housed a disturbing tale, was beset by a malevolent entity that forced the inhabitants to vacate the premises despite the pain it caused and the terror it inspired leading to it. And now it's standing by itself, concealed behind the hill. Prior to making any of the video, give it a thumbs up and sign up for our press the bell symbol to remain a viewer of our breathtaking videos. Monster foot. Picture yourself in Utah on a basic leisure while on a camping vacation and discovering stuff. What the team did was anything from straightforward. On Monday, a group of adventurers mountain range in Utah is one of. As he was photographing a river in Pacan Canyon, sensed an apparition among the trees. While they was preceded by a sound of heavy shuffling, his camera was rolling. As he ascended the stairs approaching the source of the noise, he beheld a gigantic creature strolling aimlessly between the trees. The beast's hair was jet black over its entire body. We could have referred to it as monkey, yet monkeys don't fit that the video's size has rekindled the ongoing discussions regarding I'm curious to hear your thoughts about Bigfoot, beings that can fly. Presenting yet another example of when navigating the woodland was a huge bust horrifying. Because when did anybody ever situations end up being favorable? Nearly at least not until October 2020. When this squad from Bosnia was on a mission journey via the Alpine region dramatically altered the course of events at it, appeared at first to be halt right. But when those 3.5 meters tall, unsettling creatures raised their hands to exhibition of wings and the entire viewpoint shifted, and for that reason, living things on Earth and a great distance from people, however, assumptions were made it's possible that they originated from a universes or something else entirely. The court. What does it appear to who you are? Ghastly terror. If you hold no faith in specters, tell me where this beast is at. It looked like a person at first, but then once it entered the sea, it nullified everything conjectured that it resembled its physical form mixed with water for dissolution. But prior to on the surface, it seems to be unremarkable. Emerged from the ocean once more, this time with a luminous appearance that will enhance your more perplexed by this peculiar being, is that a person seated against the wall, not even after repeatedly pausing the video. Moments or examined meticulously, that woman enjoys not a single one moved in the entire video does indicate that points in which the white thing may go the woman's spirit. But we aren't of course. Hidden riches unearthed on Oak Island. Now I'll show you the way to Nova Scotia's Oak Island. Nova Scotia, Canada, which carried a delightful, astonishing turn of events. Discoverer of hidden riches spotted an object in Oak Island's coastal hill, and afterwards, he began excavating with the hopes of discover a stash of gold. After a long day of digging, began to reveal a hint of enormous vintage ceramics that inspired the man felt a surge of energy and began to dig more rapidly. Until he could remove the vase holders, a pulse induction detector mounted on his wall in fact failed to deceive him, because following a while golden gems began to emerge from the soil. On the priceless antique vases, he was overjoyed to that gold is, to put it mildly, had no right to own. Still, he sent the valuable asset to the nation. Kilos in the river. Take this man up on his offer of candor, possible 20-pound weight loss due to couch eventually, whether it's 100 pounds or more, at on par with, if not exceeding, that. But the tale I'm about to relate to you now abandoned this man as he was the Spalding River while he walks his dog discovered 2 20-pound bills, which prompted him perplexed. He gathered those and began continuing down the path. But his discovery at the trail's end, he loosened his jaw agawk at the amount of pounds floating bills on the river. He amassed all of those, and about the time evaluated. A grand total of 60,000 pounds. However, allow me to explain this man. Did he turn over all the cash to the authorities stationed so that they can determine its proper owner? I mean, the one who lost that substantial sum, and that sum of money was in a river, no less. Cursed and/or something. Baby Bigfoot. Several guys were merely leisurely exploring the woods, with their snapping a picture of some legendary the world asserts regarding, and they discovered something completely unique. Something perched on a tree initially. They were confused, identifying it, but as they drew nearer, when they lowered their jaws to the floor with conflicting emotions of fear and shock, and they bolted from the scene at top speed. Are they able to assert that it is a juvenile, massive foot-sized creature hanging to tree trunk at a height from which it appeared to be was terrified of something that happened in the video popular. Some even argued that it was Bigfoot, a burrow. And now it's all coming together. It's up to you to decide what it was. Secret underground cavern. Next, we will delve into a German mystery. This explorer uncovered an unusual fissure in between the remote woodland, and he is interested in unraveling the secret, so he lowered himself into the abyss, guided him, and as it happened, it was a huge subterranean bunker viewed from above as slim as from underneath. It appeared to be much wider. Afterwards, he retrieved his camera and embarked on an objective to investigate it. It became clear that served as a World War II bunker, was constructed so that the troops could take refuge in at times of danger their adversary. The skinwalker. A bunch of kids overheard strange sounds in the area as they were in remote region on the periphery of the city. And that noise was horrifying, and readily apparent that they were not a part of any irresistible allure of animals unleashed They choose to pursue the sound they set out to determine its rightful owner arrived at a field bordered by a sturdy concrete fence here. The eerie sound grew louder. Before to go further, looked over the fence and noticed two blinking eyes. A terrifying beast appeared to be staring, headed straight for them. It's threatening, terrifying enough to make you wince. An additional being that shares these characteristics was reclining on the floor, in close proximity to their current location. Maned wolf. There are countless types of with strangeness. One such meeting was captured on video by a man who was in a South American forest. He witnessed this something ambling through the woods. Surely it was not some fantastic beast, but rather an animal. However, its characteristics were extremely perplexing. As the time approached, he activated the globe to use his camera to propose what indeed it possessed the characteristics of a canine's, a German shepherd, and a fox could cast doubt on anyone. But it was absolutely none of the three was a mature wolf of the species, which is extremely at risk. And only a small fraction of those that are caused behind it that is still out there is typical for animals of this kind, a misshapen environment. Terrifying beast. These adventurers were presented with the forest was the perfect spot. They were on a quest to locate a hellhound purpose to document one, following a frustrated investigated and discovered some unsettling sounds that would follow you wherever you went in. They were hell-bent on ruining your hopes and dreams. Make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. Onto the camera and began to track the decibel level. And out of the woods emerged a massive black hellhound standing 7 feet tall that completely ignored these individuals and kept moving. But fortunately, they were capable of recording the experience on imaging device.